Hey everybody, just want to share a quick little insight from my City General Conference this morning. While I was on my run, I was listening to James E. Moyle, who is the Eastern States Mission President, his April 1932 General Conference Mission Report. Now, this was really interesting because he's the Eastern States Mission President, and he talks about the fact that on the Eastern States, specifically in New York, he had had tremendous work and success among the Jewish population. He points to the fact that in 1932, 25% of New York City was Jewish. And then he talked about the fact that there was a growing movement that was fulfilling prophecy. That movement was Zionism. And he talked about the fact that from Joseph Smith's earliest days, when the Ottoman Empire was ruling the Middle East with an iron fist, Joseph Smith said, no, the Jews will be restored to Jerusalem. The children of Israel will be restored to their land of promise, their covenant land. That will happen. And he goes on to talk about the fact that in the dedication of the Kirtland Temple, that Joseph Smith prayed and dedicated and asked the Lord to gather Israel and the remnant of Judah back to Jerusalem. He talked about the fact that he sent Orson Hyde to the Holy Land to rededicate it to dedicate it for the restoration of the Jews to their homeland. And then he goes on and he starts citing various prophecies of Joseph Smith or of the Kirtland Temple or of Orson Hyde about what would happen when the Jews came back to the Holy Land. And he's like, we're seeing these be fulfilled. 1932. Jerusalem is still not even a country in 1932. But he talks about the fact that water would be able to be had in the Middle East, in Jerusalem, and that they would be able to have well-watered crops and that they would have these things. Now, fast forward to today, there's not rain, but through science, the Israelis have been able to use distillation and been able to take that seawater from the Mediterranean and turn it into fresh water to be able to turn the desert into a flowering rose. They've been able to have the crops. They've been able to fulfill prophecy. And so I just found it fascinating that in 1932, you have the mission president standing up saying, guys, these prophecies are being fulfilled. The Jews are leaving the East Coast, heading for Jerusalem. We are starting to see the gathering of the Jewish people back to their ancestral homelands, as prophecy has been foretold, as the prophets have pled. Now, fast forward 90 years, we have Israel become a country, fight a war against all their Arab neighbors who tried to literally wipe them off the face of the map, fight another war, and fight countless wars since then. But every single time, Jerusalem has been able to fulfill more and more and more prophecies. And it's been amazing. Now, this doesn't mean that we take a side on the Israeli-Arab conflicts in that region. We don't go and say, oh, everything Israel does is all hunky-dory, never does anything wrong. But it does mean that we can look at it objectively and say that this people have returned to their homeland by the words of the prophets being fulfilled, and they are fulfilling prophecy. And I think it's very important that we understand that this is one of the great testaments of Joseph Smith's prophetic role.